feels good. It's good to be back here and have our family and friends supporting us here in our hometown.
She had an aura of attracting you to her. She would draw you to dance with her.
A shining voice silenced by betrayal. It has been 30 heart-wrenching years since the world lost Selena Quintanilla, stolen by someone she trusted with her life. Today, her husband, Chris Pérez, finally steps into the light, ready to reveal the hidden truths that have haunted him since that awful morning, the slaying that shook music forever. March 31st, 1995 will always echo in Latin music history, as the day hope was torn away. Selena, just 23, was rising higher than ever, dazzling crowds with her mix of Tejano rhythms and pop sparkle. Yet behind the applause lurked danger that no one imagined. Her killer was Yolanda Saldívar, a woman once invited into Selena's closest circle. Yolanda ran the fan club and managed the singer's fashion boutiques, positions built on loyalty and trust. That bond twisted into deception, jealousy, and ending in a single shot that still chills millions. Selena's ascent had been nothing short of meteoric. She turned Tejano music into an international sensation, blending Mexican roots with rock, pop, and country flavor to create something electrifying. Amor Prohibido, her 1994 masterpiece, broke records and placed her on the edge of an English-language crossover that promised superstardom. Crowds adored her kindness, her tireless work ethic, and her sparkling stage presence. Every fresh performance pulled new listeners into the Latin sound and inspired young artists to dream bigger. Her future seemed limitless, and every award she earned felt like the beginning of something even greater. But dark clouds gathered inside her empire. Yolanda Saldívar, once a devoted fan, started acting in unsettling ways that friends noticed but could not fully explain. Behind boutique counters, she quietly pocketed money, switched records, and spun excuses that kept suspicions low. When accounting errors piled up, Selena decided to confront Yolanda. On the morning of March 31st, she and her father Abraham planned to meet the manager in a Corpus Christi motel to demand answers and retrieve missing funds. Tension filled every minute before that meeting, but no one expected gunfire. Inside the room, words flew, emotions boiled, and Yolanda snapped. She yanked out a .38 caliber handgun and fired, the bullet tearing through Selena's right shoulder and severing a major artery. Blood poured as Selena fled down the hall, crying for help, leaving a crimson trail that witnesses still remember with horror. Hotel staff rushed to her side, while Yolanda sped away in her truck, starting a frantic police chase. Doctors fought to save the singer's life, but the damage was too severe, and Selena was pronounced dead soon after arriving at the hospital. A golden future vanished in moments. News raced around the globe. Radio stations switched to non-stop tributes. Fans flooded streets with candles, and television anchors struggled to hold back tears. For millions, she had been a symbol of pride and possibility, a voice proving that Latin artists could conquer any chart. Her passing felt like daylight, suddenly gone. Thousands traveled to Corpus Christi to say goodbye, turning her funeral into a sea of white roses and broken hearts. Abraham Quintanilla, the steadfast father who shaped her career, stood shattered yet determined to protect her legacy. Grief rippled through every corner of the industry as detectives pieced together the crime. Yolanda locked herself inside her pickup with a gun pressed to her temple, threatening to end her own life. Negotiators talked for hours under the brutal Texas sun before she surrendered. The world watched, stunned, as the woman once trusted completely was led away in cuffs. During trial, Yolanda claimed the shooting was an accident. Jurors disagreed, deciding swiftly that her act was cold, intentional murder driven by greed and obsession. She received life in prison, a sentence that underscored the destructive power of envy and the terrible cost of broken trust. Selena's influence, however, refused to fade. Her voice, vibrant outfits, and joyous dance moves kept roaring through radios, living rooms, and concert halls. The 1997 biopic Selena, starring Jennifer Lopez, reintroduced her story to new generations and cemented her as a cultural icon whose impact would never dim. From fashion lines to charity drives, her name became shorthand for courage, and culture blended beautifully. Latin artists who crossed over later often thanked Selena for opening doors that once seemed bolted shut. Schools taught her songs, and murals painted her smile on city walls, ensuring she stayed in every beat of community life. Yet while the world celebrated her memory, one man grappled with pain that words barely described. Chris Pérez, her gifted guitarist and adoring husband, lost not just a star, but a love who made every tour bus feel like home. Their marriage was young, full of inside jokes, late-night songwriting, and whispered dreams. After the shooting, Chris sank into deep grief, retreating from cameras that chased him for statements. The spotlight that once felt thrilling now burned, reminded him of everything stolen by a single pull of a trigger. Nights stretched endless as he replayed their final moments together. His relationship with the Quintanilla family turned complicated. Abraham had once doubted the romance, worried the rocker lifestyle might distract Selena, and those early tensions resurfaced in the fog of morning. Rumors swirled that Chris faced the pain largely alone, adding isolation to heartbreak. Still, music offered a fragile lifeline. Chris poured his sorrow into chords and lyrics, determined to honor Selena by keeping their shared sound alive. In 1999, he released Resurrection, an album ringing with emotion, featuring Solo 2 and Este Amor, songs that paid direct tribute to the woman who inspired every note. The project won a Grammy for Best Latin Rock or Alternative Album, a bittersweet victory that Chris accepted with tears and quiet gratitude. Though awards could not erase loss, they reminded listeners of the creative spark he and Selena had ignited together. Away from stages, Chris battled memories and tried to rebuild a private life. He remarried briefly, wrote a candid memoir to Selena with love, and spoke at fan gatherings, sharing the blend of sorrow and pride that shapes his days. Each appearance carried the same truth. Selena's spirit still guides him. Memorial concerts erupted across the Americas. Radio hosts asked callers to share memories, and entire programming blocks turned into vigils where fans cried together through the airwaves. Award shows that season paused to salute her brilliance. Artists recalled her backstage warmth, her laugh that brightened rehearsals, and the advice she freely offered. The court ruled Yolanda cannot seek parole before 2025. That date fuels debates about justice and the scar she carved into music history. Chris poured his heart into producing for emerging bands, teaching discipline and humility. Many credit him with guiding them toward healthier creative paths. He joined tribute tours with Selena's siblings, reviving Bitty Bitty Boom Boom for stadium crowds waving purple flowers under the night sky. When Chris visits schools, he tells students that true greatness mixes hard work with compassion. He shares how Selena practiced until dawn and greeted every autograph seeker with a smile. Through it all, he protects cherished memories, revealing only glimpses to remind reporters that beyond headlines live real human hearts. Her legacy roars on. Another twist in Chris Pérez's stormy journey. In 2001, he said, "I do again," this time to Vanessa Villanueva, and together they welcomed two beautiful children into a world still haunted by Selena's absence. Yet the shadow of the past pressed hard. Their marriage crashed in 2008, and neither side has ever fully revealed what tore them apart. Friends whisper that grief never sleeps, and the weight of memories proved heavier than anyone could lift. Chris carried invisible scars that even love could not heal. Throughout the next decade, he kept Selena close to his heart, sharing bright memories in interviews, on stage, and across social media, determined that her voice would never fade. Tributes became his lifeline. He electrified the 2016 Selena Forever concert, guitar blazing as thousands sang every word in unison. At family events, he sometimes stood shoulder to shoulder with the Quintanillas, proving that time can soften even the deepest rifts. But his own music also needed space to breathe. Chris threw himself back into writing and recording, blending Tejano riffs with soulful rock, always guided by the woman who first believed in him. A burst of honesty arrived in 2019 with his memoir, To Selena, with Love, a raw diary that let fans peek behind the curtain. Page after page, he poured out their laughter, their dreams, and the crushing silence left by her loss. Readers devoured the book, pushing on a bestseller list worldwide. For many, it felt like finally hearing the love story in Chris's own gentle voice. Between signings and studio sessions, Chris stayed active online, dropping video clips of late-night jams and smiling selfies with his children. Even on hard days, he insisted that creativity remained his best medicine. Hollywood soon came calling. A Netflix series on Selena's life hit screens in 2020, reigniting public fascination. While grateful for the renewed spotlight, Chris admitted that the dramatization did not always match reality, especially when it came to the quiet moments only he and Selena had shared. Still, his devotion never wavered. Every public appearance pulses with respect, and he turns meet and greets into mini remembrances where fans hug him like family. Through heartbreak, divorce, and endless cameras, Chris learned to live with twin truths: deep pain and deeper purpose. He writes, he plays, he parents, all while guarding the flame that Selena lit in his soul. But do you realize just how much Selena achieved before destiny robbed her future? What follows will leave you awestruck. Born into a music-loving Texas home, Selena Quintanilla Perez dazzled crowds almost as soon as she could speak. Her father, Abraham, spotted a star in his youngest child and formed Selena y Los Dinos, turning family rehearsals into neighborhood blockbusters. English was her first language, yet she mastered Spanish lyrics with fearless determination, winning Tejano audiences who had rarely seen a teenage girl command the stage with such energy. By 20, she was a cultural force. Tejano, once dominated by male acts, now had a queen who mixed traditional accordion beats with pop sparkle and cumbia bounce, crafting a sound that felt fresh and universal. Como La Flor bloomed in 1992 and immediately became an anthem. Fans belted the chorus at quinceañeras, weddings, and car radios from Los Angeles to Miami, tasting both love and heartbreak in her voice. That same year, she dropped the album Entre Mi Mundo, smashing sales records and pushing Tejano onto international charts. Baila Esta Cumbia turned dance floors into whirlwinds of spins and shouts, proving Selena could own any rhythm she touched. She wore crystal-studded bustiers, designed her own outfits, and opened boutique doors to fans who wanted a slice of her sparkle. Fashion runways soon echoed her bold style. Then came the crossover dream. In 1994, studio sessions produced sweet ballads like I Could Fall in Love and the timeless Dreaming of You, tracks that carried her bilingual charm straight onto mainstream radio. Listeners who had never heard of Tejano suddenly fell in love with its brightest star. Tragically, the album was released after her death, turning every lyric into a bittersweet promise of what might have been. Even so, it charted worldwide, inspiring a tidal wave of Latin artists to chase the English market with new confidence. When Selena's light was snuffed out, shock rippled through music halls and family kitchens alike. Yet grief quickly transformed into celebration, cementing her as a cultural touchstone whose impact would only grow. The 1997 film Selena, with Jennifer Lopez stepping into those iconic rhinestone boots, introduced a legend to millions more. The movie showcased not only the soaring songs, but also the grit and grace that defined Selena's character. Over the years, countless documentaries, murals, and tribute albums have painted her story with vibrant color. Current superstars such as Jennifer Lopez, Shakira, and Becky G openly thank Selena for paving the highway they now speed along. Her power rests in more than chart numbers. She shattered barriers, blended cultures, and showed young Latinx dreamers that their stories deserve the main stage. Selena's voice still echoes at family barbecues, in streaming playlists, and on karaoke nights where fans close their eyes and feel her joy rush back. She remains a symbol of courage and authenticity, the rare artist whose spirit only grows brighter as decades pass. And through the steady hands of Chris Pérez, that spirit continues to shine for new generations hungry for her music, her style, and her unstoppable dream. Over time, Chris found comfort in gentle routines. He visits Selena's statue on the Corpus Christi bayfront, bringing fresh white roses, closing his eyes, and letting the Gulf breeze carry her songs back to him. He also tours schools, telling students that Selena studied pronunciation tape by tape until every Spanish lyric felt natural, proving that hard work beats talent when talent stops working hard. The children cheer, and Chris feels her dream living on in their applause. When social networks remember Selena each March 31st, Chris joins a digital vigil by posting unseen photos, goofy backstage faces, handwritten lyric sheets, or snapshots of the two sipping sodas after a late gig. Every image reminds the world that behind the legend stood two young artists madly in love. Selena's influence touches fashion weeks too. Designers flash red lips, crystal bustiers, and high-waist pants that scream 1990s Tejano glam, then credit her for inspiring bold Latino aesthetics on international runways. Her impact flows far beyond music charts. Even record executives who once questioned bilingual releases now chase Latin collaborations because Selena showed there is no ceiling when cultures collide with respect. She changed boardroom calculations forever. Today's streaming playlists keep her at the top, with billions of plays proving that authentic emotion never expires.